Hey everyone, what's going on? Joey Contino here, and currently I'm in Cox Hall Creek, which is located in Cape May County, because we wanted to go for a walk today. And as we're walking around, we're noticing that this management area is absolutely gorgeous. Kind of like something more than you would expect from a county to take care of. I mean, it had gazebos and benches and a beautiful lake and a pond. And we're noticing that this place doesn't look like it used to be any kind of management area. It looks like it was something else. Doing a little research, turns out that this is the abandoned beer world. Yeah, it's an interesting story and I want to tell it to you. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe, you turn on notifications, and you give this video a thumbs up. A special thank you out to my patrons on patreon.com. It's because of them I could spend the time and the research to do these kind of videos. If you too want to support this channel and have your name at the end of the video, all you have to do is click the links in the description below. Anyway, let's get started.
If you like beer, as beer should be, if you like sparkling brew, insist on Schmidt's of Philadelphia. It's a pleasure when you do.
The Christian Schmidt Brewing Company was a prominent brewery with a rich history dating back to the mid-19th century. It was founded by Christian Schmidt, a German immigrant, in 1860 in the city of brotherly love.
Of Philadelphia. It's a pleasure when you do.
Christian Schmidt started his brewing career during Philadelphia's brewing boom and quickly gained a reputation for producing high-quality beers. His brewery prospered over the years, expanding its production capacity and distribution network. By the late 19th century, the Schmidt Brewing Company became one of the largest breweries in the city, known for its flagship brand, Schmidt's Beer.
Or wherever you buy Schmidt's Beer.
Throughout the early to mid-20th century, the Schmidt Brewing Company experienced both successes and challenges. It managed to survive the Prohibition by shifting its production to non-alcoholic beverages and other products. After the appeal of Prohibition in 1933, the brewery resumed beer production and regained its standing in the industry. It was in 1976 when Schmidt's was purchased by Billy Pflaumer, who helped to propel the company to another level. Under his leadership, he turned the historic brand into the 9th largest brewery in America. In the success of the business, Billy decided that he wanted a golf course near the shore. Billy, as told by friends, was big into entertaining, so he wanted a private spot where he can have friends and family come and hang out. So in 1976, he purchased 253 acres in the city of The Villas and created a private 9-hole golf course. While the official name of the course would be Ponderlodge, for locals it was simply known as Beer World. Interestingly enough, Billy himself did not play golf. Nonetheless, he constructed a 1,600 square foot building within the course, primarily for the enjoyment of his friends and family. This building had everything from a bar, a game room, a pool room, and a massive Olympic-sized pool with the Schmidt's logo in the middle. Success for Billy started to make a turn in the 1980s, when he was convicted for a false billing scheme in which he had evaded paying $125,000 in taxes in 3 different states. After several failed attempts in overturning his conviction, he sold the brewery to a Wisconsin company in 1986. It would be a year after the company was sold when Schmidt's officially filed for bankruptcy. While the beer company closed, Beer World actually stayed open and even expanded in 1999 to become an 18-hole golf course. To help fund the expansion project, the course opened to the public for the first time, welcoming in golfers from all around the world. A few years later, it too went through some hard times and was doing everything possible to keep its doors open, including, and yes, I'm not making this up, filming a horror movie called Blades. Blades can only be described as a lawnmower version of Jaws, and believe it or not, most of the footage used in this video came from that movie because they filmed on every square inch of this property. By the early 2000s, the golf course filed for bankruptcy and officially closed. Many projects were considered for this land, including a housing development, but in 2006, the state of New Jersey stepped in to purchase it. In February of that year, New Jersey's Green Acres program purchased Ponderlodge for $8.45 million. It was their plan to hand it over to New Jersey's Wildlife Division and make it into a habitat. New Jersey spent a lot of time and a lot of money converting the property into a nature preserve. They knocked down all of the buildings, including the lodge and the pool, and they turned all the greens into wooded areas. This area is open to the public and it's called Coxhole Creek. And what's awesome is they kept all the paths from where the golf carts used to go, and now they're all running trails where you can go and explore what used to be there. So even though Beer World doesn't exist anymore, you can still enjoy the 253-acre land just by taking a walk. There's actually a lot to see here. And right now, we're gonna go ahead and give you guys a quick little tour, just kind of show you what it looks like now that it's been pretty much reclaimed by the land after all these years. According to Google Maps, this is where the original house was, with the pool area and a couple other activities. There really isn't much to look at. I mean, it was completely flattened, and now it's just an area where bees can pollinate and so on and so forth. But the only thing I can really point out and say 100% that this is still standing from when it was Beerland is over here, this little island. You can see there's a gazebo on top, a bench, there used to be a dock, and obviously it's falling apart. No one has been on here in a very, very long time, and as you know, the county's not going to maintain that. If anything, they probably want to destroy that so that people don't go over there and knock it down or potentially cause it to catch fire. This is the other side of that island. I mentioned these have a dock to it. Here it is. It's falling apart. Though the county did build their own over here, it's mostly just so that you can watch the ducks, which have overtaken everything in this little island slash pond. One interesting thing to note is that, I'm in here kind of exploring, seeing things, what they look like today. It's been decades since this place stopped being Beer World, which means Mother Nature has reclaimed everything. So as we're walking down all of these paths, which were obviously for golf carts, on my map I'm like, oh, was this something that would have been like a golf range or a course or this and that? Was this hole number 5? It's really hard to see because it's been 30 odd years and the trees have been growing. So while on the right hand side you can see some of these bigger, taller trees, if you pan over to the left you'll see these smaller ones. This all used to be clearing. This all used to be a hole. I think this was hole number 6. While right now it doesn't really look like anything because it just looks like trees, on Google Maps you can actually tell the difference. You can see where the taller ones were, which meant that they weren't playing golf there, versus the shorter trees, which used to be a complete clearing. They used to cut every week and maintain so you can play golf on. So while it's hard to imagine now, we can at least turn to Google Earth to see what it used to look like. And this is a good view kind of showing you some of the older trees. You see how tall they are? Down here, they're mostly known for their pine trees. So whenever you see a pine tree, you could tell that this was something that wasn't planted and has been growing naturally. So over here, which used to be the clearing for golf, it's all pine trees mostly. Versus this side, which you can see, these are all original trees, very, very old trees, and they were planted here for landscaping for the golf course. As we're walking around, you'll notice that there really aren't many things left over from the original Beer World. But besides the paths and a couple other pieces of wood that we found that potentially had a sign on at one point, the only other thing is really the ponds. As you're walking around, you'll notice these small little ponds that were clearly built so that they can grab some of the water as it rained along the course. It could drain quicker, and or just a collection of water that they could use to either water the holes or something like that. We have noticed that on these paths, there have been markings, whether it's a white dot or a line. They're throughout the entire path. I don't know if it belonged to the golf course or if it's something the management company put in. Like maybe it meant that there's a turn here, because you can see there's one here going that way, and then there's another one that goes that way. We have other markings like this, which looks like it's like a, hey, turn this way kind of thing, and you could tell at one point this was a clearing for something else. And then we got more dots. Once again, you got one here, one there, and then there's a white line down the other way, which is this line here. But I know nothing about these lines, so if you're a golfer, let me know what they mean in the comment section. There is so much history here in South Jersey that you never know what's in your own backyard. But I want to thank you for joining me. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe, turn on notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. And as always, I'll see you on the beach. I'll see you later. Bye.